Here at Wood Academy, we're all about working in the shop as safely as possible. And if your table saw isn't properly tuned and set up, nothing you can do and no tool you use is going to give you accurate and, more importantly, safe results. The process of getting the blade and the rip fence dead parallel to the miter slot requires precision measuring. I happen to have a digital micrometer in my shop, and these are pretty inexpensive and pretty easy to use. But I need a method for accurately measuring from the slot to the various parts that I need to measure, both front and back. So I developed this small sled which holds my micrometer while accurately moving back and forth along my miter slot. And I'll show you how that's done. It's a pretty basic and straightforward build that doesn't require a lot of stuff. A small piece of 3/4 plywood for the body, the 0-play guide bar to hold it accurately within our miter slot. We're going to cross-cut a shallow groove to fit the micrometer in, and then that will be held in place with a small piece of scrap material for a clamping block. And I'm using a pair of Microjig's dovetail studs in order to hold that in place and clamp the micrometer. So I'll be using a dovetail bit, and I'll be using the dado stop to fit the dado across here. Begin the process by ripping some good quality 3/4 inch plywood into a strip 2 inches wide and cross-cut it to 10 inches long. The clamping block is also cut to 3 inches by 1.5 inches. It can be made from either 1/2 inch or 3/4 stock. The parts are then marked out according to the measured drawing. The center line is marked first, then the mounting holes for the 0-play guide bar are marked out, and the center lines for the dovetail slots. The mounting holes get a 1/2 inch diameter counter bore. A 1/4 inch bit is used to complete the mounting holes and drill through the clamping block. The micrometer itself was used to set the width of the groove on the dado stop. This is milled into the body about 1/8 of an inch deep and centered between the 2 marks for the dovetail slots. Using the dado stop is not required to make this slot, but it does help to make a snug fit for the micrometer. And a good fit will ensure that the micrometer is perpendicular to the miter slot. And now, before finishing at the table saw, the relief grooves for the dovetail slots can be cut, and the dovetails themselves milled on the router table. A little sanding to round over all the corners, and the jig is ready for assembly. First, the 0-play guide bar has to be fitted to the miter slot. A pair of washers or nickels are used to hold the 0-play at the top of the slot. This is where it's going to operate, so it's the best place to set the fit. The base is mounted to the 0-play, squared up using the fence, and then the mounting screws are tightened. And finally, the clamping block is added using the dovetail hardware. The micrometer is mounted, and the clamping block gently secures it in place. Start the setup by zeroing the micrometer on one point of the blade, then measure front and back, adjusting the saw until there's no difference between the two. Your owner's manual will give you the proper method for adjusting the table. To check and adjust the fence, the micrometer is reversed in the jig, and the fence is adjusted until there's no difference between the measurement at the front and at the back. This method will ensure that the fence and the blade are exactly parallel, which is critical for safe and accurate cutting. Visit our website at woodacademy.com to find more great ways to build your skills.